So, Donatello, the third of our turtles, but the oldest in your earthly timeline, dating back to the last breath of the 14th century, a famous and true pioneer of the Renaissance period. So, grab a snack, settle in, another journey is about to begin. Born to the name Donato Niccolo di Pietro-Bardi in 1386, but was long enough to last him a marathon, so had it changed into Donatello. Locked into this world in Florence, Italy, he was born in a modest family, a son of a wool carder, and a little known is actually known about his early years. Most noteworthy thing was that he was involved in a fight with a German, and hit him on the head with a club like a bonky dog or sending a friend to whatever jail you want. However, it is believed that around 1399 to 1402, he received his early artistic education as a goldsmith's apprentice, just like someone I know, as it was a common early education for aspiring Renaissance artists, as it provided training in metalworking and sculpture techniques, and in 1403, he went into his reshaping experience, his apprenticeship under Lorenzo Ghiberti. There he learned both traditional Gothic techniques, especially Pallad's view with a better application of geometry and symmetry, and the ends of early Renaissance development such as dynamism and transposes. Due to his relationship with Ghiberti, Donatello assisted in creating the east doors of the famous baptistery of Florence, aka the Gate of Paradise. But all this weren't the only thing that helped shaping Donatello. A big part of any human and of course artist is the environment they found themselves in. And growing up in Florence during the 14th century, Donatello was exposed to a vibrant artistic atmosphere. The city was a hub of culture and intellectual activity, having the privilege of witnessing renowned artists and scholars leaving their mark on its streets, who would later inspire his own creative endeavors. One such artist was the great Giotto di Bondone, whose frescoes adorn the walls of the Basilica of Santa Cruz in Florence. As Giotto's innovations in bringing naturalism, emotion, perspective, and humanism to painted biblical narratives inspired Donatello's similarly expressive and perspective-based relief sculpture storytelling. But not only Giotto. Additionally, another important figure who influenced Donatello was Filippo Brunelleschi, an architect and sculptor. If Donatello was inspired by Giotto's perspective-based art, Brunelleschi's architectural marvel, such as the Florence Cathedral's dome, showcased a revolutionary understanding of proportions and geometry. This visionary approach to art and architecture resonated deeply with Donatello and had a lasting impact on his style, deeply reforming him. Donatello's exposure to the artistic and intellectual elite of Florence undoubtedly fostered his creative spirit and ignited the desire to push the boundaries of art. It was within the vibrant culture milieu that Donatello's artistic journey began to take shape, setting the stage for his groundbreaking contributions to the world of sculpture. But Donatello didn't only just get influenced like I told you. He broke free from tradition and revolutionized the art of his time, delving into his innovative techniques and fresh perspectives, as Donatello's work marked a significant departure from the rugged and stylized sculptures of the medieval era. And what is more revealing than some examples, right? Like any other young adult, we all go through phases, and Donatello wasn't the exception. His phase was exceptional, but he wasn't an exception nonetheless, as between the years 1411 and 1423, Donatello focused on making statues of saints such as Saint Mark, Saint George, and Saint Louis of Toulouse, all of which were made for the Orsamani Church. I wish I pronounced that right, and I don't know if he was the one into them or them the ones into him, but to a more important point, you can already see the results of what he had learned implied in these statues. Let's take Saint Mark's statue for an example. The both shows contrapposto influence from early Renaissance sculpture, which for anyone who doesn't know is represented in the figure's weight shifting onto one leg, creating a sense of movement. However, the figures still have Gothic elements, like the elongated proportions, linear drapery folds, and otherworldly facial expressions common in medieval art. As Donatello meant to blend early Renaissance naturalism with Gothic abstractions to create a bold new style, fusing contemporary and ancient influences. The realism is seen in subtle details, like the wrinkles in St. Mark's robe, the lovely curling toes, and sense of weight in the solid figure. Saint Mark gazes upward reverently and holds his gospel book close to his chest, symbols of his Christian devotion and rule as one of the 4 evangelists. And to get all these that precise, Donatello carved it from a single block of marble. But he didn't stop there. He only marched on with his depictions, forward from saints to prophets. And I want to shift my focus toward the sculpture of David now. Donatello actually made 2 sculptures of David, but the one I want to focus on today is the second one, and to understand it well, we have to give it some context first. In the 1430s, Florence was locked in conflict with Milan and their Duke Filippo Maria Visconti. Tension escalated in 1440 when Milan invaded Lucca, which was under Florentine protection. War seemed imminent. Florence's leader, known as the Signoria, wanted a symbolic image to inspire Florentine Republicans' values of courage and defense of liberties against the despotic Duke, and here Donatello entered the call. He was commissioned to create a sculpture that would embody these ideals and stir up patriotic defiance against the aggressing tyrant. So what did Donatello exactly do? Well, unlike other depictions of David in art that had shown the triumphant giant slayer standing victoriously over Goliath's head, muscular and heroic, Donatello shockingly chose to depict David as graceful, almost tremendingly beautiful adolescent boy, standing in contrapposto with 1 foot on Goliath's severed head. This vulnerable image was meant to emphasize David's courage and ingenuity in facing the mighty Philistine, not brute strength. It inspired the Florentines with the ideal that through faith and intelligence, the Republic could take down the threatening giant Visconti. One of the most beloved sculptures that Donatello ever had a hand in, and it's not only loved because of the precision and feeling that it draws out, but for the story it tells too. Mary Magdalene was healed by Jesus of demonic possessions, becoming one of his most faithful followers. She supported Christ's ministry and bore witness to his preaching and miracles. Even through the devastation of his death, she remained loyal, weeping at his foot. On Easter morning, it was Mary who discovered the empty tomb and encountered the risen Christ, forever cementing her devoted discipleship. After Jesus' ascension, she is said to have lived as a hermit in the wilderness, engaged in harsh fasting and penance. And here comes Donatello's sculpture, depicting Magdalene during this phase of her life, both exhausted, consumed by spiritual self-denial, of her penitential suffering, sunken flesh, protruding bones, aging wood, anguish marked her face as she looks upwards with yearning eyes. Yet in Magdalene's emaciated figure, Donatello captured an intense devotion that transcended bodily needs. His raw emotionalism and visceral naturalism reveals Magdalene's piety as she denies earthly comforts to grow closer to the divine. From loyal follower to risen Lord's witness, Donatello pierced through hagiographic legends to uncover the human core of Magdalene's journey, vulnerable, conflicted, and impassioned. Donatello's artistic contributions align perfectly with the spirit of the Renaissance, a time of great intellectual culture and artistic rebirth. His relentless pursuit of naturalism, his exploration of classical forms, and his deep understanding of human emotions were all in sync with the changing cultural landscape. It played a significant role in bridging the gap between the medieval era and the modern world. His revolutionary approach to sculpture, with its emphasis on naturalism and emotional expression, laid the foundation for the artistic development that would follow. Artists such as Michelangelo, who was a generation younger than Donatello, was profoundly influenced by his work. Other Renaissance masters such as Andrea del Verrocchio and Antonio del Pollaiuolo, who embraced his naturalistic approach to sculpture and expanded on it in their own artistic endeavors. And beyond sculpture, Donatello's influence extended to the field of architecture as well, such as the Pazzi Chapel, something that demonstrated his ability to seamlessly merge various art forms. Donatello pioneered in single-point perspective in his shallow reliefs. This helped popularize mathematical perspective as an architectural technique, like we can see in San Lorenzo's Hall. The pillars and ceiling gives a feeling of a unifying thing. As Filippo Brunelleschi was a friend of Donatello's and benefited from what his friends did. Donatello's influence was not limited to his immediate successes. His work transcended time and influenced artistic movements beyond the Renaissance. Artists of the Mannerist and Porche periods drew inspiration from his ability to convey emotion and his mastery of sculpture technique. We can see that clearly in Benvenuto Cellini's Perseus with the head of Medusa, recalling the graceful elongation of figures contraposed to poses, an emotive style seen in Donatello's David with a striking similarity, and Gian Lorenzo Bernini with the spiraling columns and emotionalism of his Porche ecstasy of Saint Teresa, referenced Donatello's late wood sculpture of Mary Magdalene. Even in the present day, Donatello's legacy continues to inspire contemporary artists. We can see that clearly in Auguste Rodin's emotive sculptures of figures like the Finca or the Kiss. It reflects Donatello's ability to capture complex psychological states through form and expression that he showed in sculptures like Mary Magdalene. Henry Moore's sense of tension and abstraction in reclining figures like Moore's trap-seated woman, which I personally don't like, but nonetheless, it demonstrates inspiration from fluidity in Donatello's Pazzi Madonna. And others are being inspired every day by Donatello's creativity. And you too, like Donatello, and like them, stay creative.